Hey, everybody. Happy night number 2. As always, jump into the comments below. Say hi and where you are coming in from. We love to see everyone's tuning in from. Awesome. I think some of the comments are coming in. Philly in the house. Yeah. Oh, Alex, I didn't know you were from Philly. That's where I grew up in Conshohocken. So that's small world. Small world. We got Buffalo, we got London, Ontario, Vancouver, we got Iowa, Boston, we got Maryland, Jersey. That's where we are now. We're in Marlton. Awesome. Sri Lanka. Wonderful. Good to see people from all over joining tonight. So obviously it is night number 2, and we are going to be diving into creating pillar content. Hungry? We had dinner. So what I want to hear from all of you first, drop into the chat. And first of all, congrats for all those that did the homework and dropped that their content buckets into the Nancy's homework post in the group. Just awesome. It was good really seeing the clarity and everything that you guys were doing. Again, and also thank you for those that posted a screenshot of the training on social media. Again, remember at the end of today's training, we're going to be announcing 4 winners, 2 homework winners, and 2 social media post winners. And the same thing goes for tomorrow. Again, you can take a screenshot at any point during tonight's training. You can throw it in an Instagram story, Instagram post, LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever you want. Just make sure you tag either myself, Nancy, or both of us so we know who obviously posted it, and that will count towards that. And as always, there's going to be a day 2 homework thread pinned to the top of the Facebook group. And again, for those that are not a part of that yet, if someone could, I know there's about 50 people on here, if someone could grab the URL like we did last night and drop it into the chat, if anyone has not joined the LinkedIn Leads for Life Facebook group. Thank you, Peg, as always. You can click that link, join the group, and you will see the homework thread pinned to the very top. It says night 1 right now. It'll say night 2 later on this evening, where you can post your accountability assignment. And just as today, tomorrow, same thing. Just make sure your accountability assignment is posted in the comments of that thread by 7:30 p.m. tomorrow night. Now, as a reminder, we're going over pillar content tonight. We're going over repurposing your content into multiple forms to work smarter, not harder. And day 4, which is Thursday, we're going to be going over full Q&A, but also we are going to be giving you a live demonstration of ChatGPT, which a lot of people are excited about, and showing you all the wonderful things you can do with this incredible free resource. Nancy and I use it every single day. It's awesome. And there's really no excuse now for running out of content, because what ChatGPT spits out is absolute gold. And obviously we're going to work you guys through using that site on day number 4 as well. So make sure that you attend the live Q&A plus the ChatGPT demonstration. As always, there's 4 emails going out. You're going to get the replay email tomorrow morning at 7, and then you're going to get an hour warning, 15-minute warning, and we are live. So you're going to be getting those 4 every single day. And also just remember, it's going to be the same link that you used this morning, tomorrow morning, Wednesday morning, and Thursday morning. It's the same replay link. If you have that page already open, you're going to see day number 2, 3, and 4 appear like that. And you can watch those replays back until Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if everybody is clear on all of that, drop a Y or a yes in the chat box. Just want to make sure Everybody is with us. Awesome. And again, if anyone does want to invite other people to this workshop, just remember, we record this, so it's not too late for people to sign up. If you did want to share it out with people in your network, friends, family, business associates, please do. They can still get the workbook, they can watch the replays, and obviously they can join the last 2 nights, which is tomorrow and on Thursday. So before we dive into pillar content, drop into the comments below, what was the biggest needle mover for all of you from night number 1, which was last night when we went over your content buckets? What clarity did you get from last night that has really assisted you in understanding not only how to put yourself out on social media, but how you can create that content? So including your business, absolutely. Consistency is key, 100%. We can't do anything without consistency. And really sharing what you do for a business is absolutely ideal. Any other takeaways, drop them into the comments. Showing your expertise, absolutely. If you want to be positioned as an expert in your space, you have to let people know what it is that you do. And Terry said everything. So again, we really want you guys to move that needle forward. ChatGPT, do not make them burn calories to find out what you do. Absolutely. You have to post every day. Your bucket system, absolutely. So again, a lot of things that we're teaching you this is the exact system and methodology of what Nancy and I do for our company to stay consistent, to stay visible. And what we're going to be going over tonight is pillar content. And some people do get confused a little bit between content buckets and pillar content. They're 2 totally separate things. Content buckets are the topics of what you're going to talk about, and pillar content is in the form that you are going to create that content. So we're going to be going through all of that. We're going to have some fun tonight. I did this about a year or so ago, where I put out a challenge to the group for topics and stuff that I can do something on, which we'll get into obviously when that portion of tonight's training comes up. And again, yep, 3 to 5 content buckets, and posting every day is, you have to be visible. You really want to put yourself out there. So making sure that you have tons of content out there for people to digest is absolutely key. 3.96 billion people on social media. We're never going to run out of people to connect with. We're never going to run out of business. The only way we run out of business is if we don't make our business visible. Breaking it down to small nuggets to be effective. Absolutely. So if everybody is ready to dive in, just drop a Y or a yes in the chat box, and we are going to start night number 2, which is creating your pillar content. Let me bring this up really quick. Let me just make sure I have the right window open here. There we go. Go back. So many screens. I'm used to. It's funny because we work off of a laptop here. I'm so used to working on my huge computer screen now that Nancy got me for Hanukkah. All right, here we go. And let me just hide the video panel. Awesome. If you guys can see the screen clearly, please drop a Y or a yes in the chat just so we know before we start. Awesome. Okay, wonderful. So I'm going to, again, turn it over to my beautiful counterpart so we can begin day number 2.
Out with the content. Yes. So day number 2, we are going to dig into long form content. Okay. So yesterday we talked about the buckets, right? Which are really the topics, like Scott said. And now we're going to talk about actually creating a piece of content that you're actually going to lead your week with. Okay. So bear with me. I actually added more graphics than we've had in the past because I think, visuals are important. So we're going to talk about pillar content and creating that. And then we're going to really focus in on video. And why are we focusing on video?
Well, video is king.
Or queen.
Or queen. And it's honestly, it's as far as pillar content goes, the types of content that you can create, which we're going to go over the different types. Even though video may sound scary, it's the easiest to start with because obviously it can then be brought into so many other types.
Yes. So we're going to go through the different types. And then, of course, I just want to really go back to, we really wanted to give you guys the most during this training, and video continues to be the main engager, right? The fastest way to build that know, like, and trust with your audience. The piece of content that really gives you the most bang for your buck. So that's why we're digging into it a little bit deeper in this training. So for this first kind of breakout, right? So what is pillar content? So a content pillar is substantive and informative piece of content on a specific topic or theme that can be broken into many different pieces. Okay. So I want you to think of it. It's like one piece of content that's longer, okay, that we can break down and make little different pieces off of. All right. And we're going to break this down a little bit more. So common forms of pillar content that people create are either a blog, a podcast, or a video.
Now, with those that are on here right now, between blog, podcast, and video, which one are you currently leading with or creating most? And if you're not making videos, if you're not doing podcasts, or if you're not doing blogs, which one of those three scares you the most? So reels or video? Video, podcast, but more videos, video. Okay, blogs. Yep. Now, the great thing is, once we walk you through this system and this flow, if you lean into it, remember what Nancy said yesterday, everybody starts at zero, right? Everybody has a first video. Everyone has a first long form blog. Everyone has their first podcast episode if they want to have one. Everyone starts somewhere, right? Now, once you get under the hood of what we're going to talk about today with leading with video and how that can be broken down into so many different things, when you live by the adage that every master was once a disaster, you're going to knock this out of the park. I promise you. It just takes time and it just takes consistency.
Yeah. And the thing is, when we dig a little bit deeper into pillar content does so many things. Guys, remember that you, right, as a personal brand, building their business online and really growing, your presence on social media, you are the thought leader. Okay. So we want you actually creating content that's yours that you can either reuse later, that you can turn into a book, that you can really just continue to grow your expertise and set yourself apart as the expert in your space. Okay. So we want you to lock that in, because that's a big mindset shift I think a lot of people have to take, where, well, who am I? Or, what do I have to really say? Well, if you're putting yourself out there and you want people to hire you, you should be knowing what you're doing, right? You should be an expert in what it is that you do. So doing this, right, just creating this content is also going to keep you sharp, right? I said it before yesterday on our training. When I sat there and I was writing my book and I was creating content, it made me such a better coach, leader, trainer, everything when it came to building your personal brand, because I was doing the research. I was putting the time, energy, and effort into creating that content because I wanted to answer, I wanted to answer problems. I wanted to make sure that I was putting valuable content out there. So doing this routine, right? Day one was choosing your content topics, choosing those buckets. Now we're talking about underneath of that, right? If we were to focus on creating one piece of content each week, right? That's going to be pillar content. We're going to show you how you can break that out to literally lead your week and make this process so much more streamlined, smooth, and also give you lots of things that you can use it for later, right? So just talking about pillar content. So I want to show you a couple examples of some of the main forms of pillar content. So I came across this today. I was actually typing in the best blogs, and Scott was like, oh yeah, I've known about Seth Godin's blog forever. So Seth Godin is a marketer, and every single day he posts just a few paragraphs. So what I'm showing you on the screen is 1, 2, 3, 4. It's broken into 4 different paragraphs, but it really, let's be real, it's probably about 10 sentences. Okay. So that is something as simple as just 10 sentences into a blog. I'm showing you a picture now of a blog that I did, right? It was a topic, 9 tips to stay focused when you just can't, right? So mine was about, I would say 3 to 5 paragraphs. In this picture, right? Love the freeze frame, right? This is a video that I did on the trouble of staying focused, right? It was tame your drunk monkey mind. Okay. So that's an example of another form of pillar content. Podcasts, right? So Scott has, I don't know, like a top podcast, Networking and Marketing Made Simple. I have a podcast, which we also do individual episodes on. So you can see here that I did an episode on that content that I created for that week around staying focused. So when we talk about this step-by-step process of creating the content, we start with that one piece of pillar content each week, right? So if we think about that, so now we've taken this massive undertaking, right? Of like, oh my gosh, we got to create so much content because we've got an entire year, ahead of us. And now we're actually breaking it down into 4 weeks. And now we're breaking it down even more into 4 posts. Okay. So I want you to look at your month, right? We can even look at March because we're 1 day away from March. So we can look at March and we can look at week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. If you pick out one pillar piece of content that you can create, we're going to show you how you can take that one piece and break it down into multiple pieces of content for your business. So again, right, we're going through each step by step in this process. We're going to use video, right, as our main leader. So, right, we shared, blog posts or, another way that you could go, you could do podcast episodes, but we are going to focus on video because video is so incredibly important. So 1, you want to create your pillar piece of content. All right. Let's say that's a video. Next, from that video, you're going to be able to break it down into micro pieces of content. Now, many of you might be thinking, okay, well, micro pieces of content, what the heck does that mean? Well, that could be posts, like individual posts. It could be stories. It could be reels. It could be a lot of different things. In fact, I actually shared an example of typically what I break mine down into. So I could do a training, which I just shared with you guys, 9 tips to stay focused when you just can't. I turned that into a blog post on my website. I also turned it into a LinkedIn newsletter that I shared with my community, over 2,000 subscribers on my LinkedIn newsletter. I took a quote from that video that I did, and I shared that as a single post. I did a poll, what is the thing that you find most challenging when it comes to focusing on, your business? And then I created an infographic, kind of like a very simple, like 9 things, to stay focused. So that one piece of content, which was a video, honestly, guys, it was probably about 2 to 5 minutes, the entire video in total. I was able to transcribe that and break that down into so many different pieces of content.
So if that's clear and if that makes sense to everyone so far, drop a Y or a yes in the chat. Because the big thing is this. People typically overcomplicate the content creation process because they think that they need to create different content every single day. I need to talk about this on this day, this on this day. So then you get yourself overwhelmed because you're like, oh my God, how am I going to come up with 5 different topics this week? That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is that you pick one topic and you create all of your content around that. So let me give you an example. I did a training yesterday on 2 new LinkedIn features. I did a LinkedIn Live. And what I did was I wrote a little blurbit about, in the description of that LinkedIn Live, what I'm going to be talking about. Now, what I can do is I can take that blurbit, and what I can do is I can copy and then paste it in my LinkedIn newsletter, expand on each one of those 2 things that I spoke verbally in the video, but just type it out instead. But I have the framework already built. Now it goes out as my LinkedIn newsletter at the end of the week. The other thing I can do, which I'm going to do tomorrow, is I'm going to do a poll asking people, are you aware of these 2 new features? Yes or no? And then from there, obviously, they're going to be prompted to go read my newsletter on Friday, which is going to verbally talk about those two new features on LinkedIn. The other thing I do is from that newsletter, I can take the two new features and then I can create an infographic on Canva highlighting 1 and 2, and then write a little blurb above it. So now I've themed out my entire week based on one topic, but it's being posted and the content's being created visually in different forms. So if that makes sense, drop a Y or a yes in the chat. Because again, this is why you want to start with that video, that 2 to 5 minute video that's going over, 2 tips for this, 3 ways to do that. Because when you can break things down, and for people that always wonder, why do you always do things in 3? There were scientific studies done from a business standpoint that prove that people that learned in steps of 3, so 3 things they can learn, they would retain it almost 100% of the time. When you start getting into 8 things and 12 things and 81 things to do this, people aren't going to remember any of it, but people can remember things of 3. So that's why when you're going to be breaking content down and you're giving helpful tips, break it down into 2s or 3s. That way people can not only understand, they can digest it and then apply it and then come back for more. And that's why the video is so key, because that can be used for so many other micro pieces, as Nancy alluded to, which are the examples you're seeing right here.
Absolutely. So the main things that we're talking about, and guys, we're sharing some tools, right? We're talking about a couple of different things. For anyone who has ever done a video, in fact, if you want to share in the chat, have you guys heard of Otter.ai, or are you currently using a program to transcribe audio into text? Okay, so if you have not heard of Otter.ai, or if you've heard of Otter.ai, yes, share in the chat. Okay, so we've got a couple people. Again, I love this. We've got a peppering. So what Otter.ai does is you can actually go right to the website, Otter.ai, and for free, right up to, I think it's about 500 minutes per month, which is plenty, right? Because we're talking about doing 2 to 5 minute videos. What you can do is you can actually take your video, you can press play, and you can hit the button so that it transcribes your video. So that now 2 to 5 video, 2 to 5 minute video, is now transcribed into about a 3 to 5, usually kind of breaks down to about that 3 to 5 paragraph transcription. So Otter is so wonderful. And I know a lot of people use like Google. I think
we can show them real quick if you want.
Yeah. Let's actually do a share screen. So we can actually show you guys. And again, for everyone who does know Otter, this is like a quick little refresher. But as we go in and share it, I also want to relate this to ChatGPT, because one thing that I want to share with you guys, and if you can type a Y in the chat box, if you guys are familiar with ChatGPT and the AI that I'm speaking about, please share a Y. Just, obviously want to make sure that we're relevant. I know a lot of people the other day shared. But the thing is you can actually take your rough transcription, put it into ChatGPT and say, please format this into an engaging blog post.
We're going to do that on.
And we're going to do that on, on Thursday, but you can put a quote, right? And you can paste your rough transcription and it will pump out a beautiful formatted blog post, and you can even adjust it as needed. So Scott's going to do a little demonstration on how you can actually use Otter. So this is Otter.ai.
So once you log on, this is what the home screen looks like. And so say I'm doing a video on Zoom, or maybe I'm actually doing this on my phone. And that's what I typically do. If I'm doing a pre-recorded video, I'll prop my phone up and I'll record right on here. That way I can just upload to the platform of my choice. So before I actually hit record on my phone, I'm going to actually hit record on Otter first. So if you guys are with me, just drop a Y or a yes in the chat box. I just want to make sure you understand this flow. Okay. So you're going to go to Otter.ai. You're going to hit record. You're going to hit record. And then you have your camera open. You're going to hit record on here. Just hit mute all. You're just going to hit record on your phone, and then you're going to shoot your 2 to 4 minute video. Now, while that's doing that, Otter is running in the background, completely transcribing what you're saying. And this is what it looks like. So I'm going to hit record. And I'm just going to start talking. And what it's going to do is it's going to record word for word everything that I'm saying. So if I'm doing a video saying, hey, here are 3 tips of how you can grow your business using LinkedIn. Number 1, you need to grow a thriving network of ideal connections and power partners. Number 2, you need to create content that engages your audience and creates visibility. And number 3, you need to message people the right way so you're getting responses, so you can then have discovery calls to offer what it is that you can do to serve them. So it basically is going to continue to transcribe until I hit stop. And again, this is free. And then all you need to do is, once it's done, you can export it as a TXT file, which is just a text file that you download right to your computer. You copy it, you paste it into whatever platform you want to post it on, and then you just have to space it out, and then it's done from there. So again, it's such a valuable tool. No camera necessary. Does it link with a phone camera? It doesn't have anything to do with, it's got nothing to do with your phone camera. This is just it's a transcription tool that transcribes as you're recording the video using your phone.
Yeah. So I'm actually a person who learns better kind of seeing, right? I need like visual as well as listening. So I actually had Otter. I was on a webinar and I was part of like a whole training program. And I actually clicked otter.ai and I clicked record. And as it was transcribing, it was like it was reading it to me. So not only was I looking at it, right, in word form, I was listening to it. So again, you can use this in so many different ways. I've had people use it in meetings, right, to kind of recap the meeting itself. I've had people who have taken old videos, right, that they've done a long time ago that they actually want to use some of the content from. So there's lots of different ways that you can use otter.ai. And keep in mind, right, we've got 500 minutes, I think, that you can get for free. There are other programs. We've just used Otter for the longest time, just because, we've been talking about it for years. It's just so incredibly easy.
The other cool thing you can do is, if you do Zoom meetings like Nancy and I do, you can actually integrate your Otter account with Zoom and transcribe the meetings that you have with clients or prospects and actually download the notes. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's so funny. So Otter does have a whole help desk, and they walk through. You can even look on YouTube how to use Otter for different things in your business. I didn't even know. As long as we had been using Otter, I had no idea until I jumped on a meeting with someone. And after the meeting, it actually said, hey, here's your meeting notes from the Zoom call. Yep. And I was like, what? So I told Scott right away. I was like, oh my gosh, you need to get on this. Yep. So anyway, there's so many amazing things that you can use otter.ai for. But the whole point is, right, we just want that transcription. So if you did your video, right, that 2 to 5 minute video teaching and training on something, right, could be 3 tips about whatever. Now we go down to, okay, creating multiple pieces of content. Now you've created all these different pieces. The next step is to schedule your content. Okay. And I spoke about this the other day. It's kind of like a non-negotiable for your business. If you are in the online space and you're trying to market and get your content out there, you guys have to think about a social media scheduling platform. Okay. So obviously, Scott and I, we have BYB Social, which is our social media scheduling platform that we've used for years. We're going to talk about it a little bit more tomorrow. There are many different ones out there like Sprout Social and, tons of different ones, right? But the whole point is we need to make sure that we have a process in place that sets us up for success, right? We want to make sure that we have the tools available so that if you're taking the time to create this content, you're breaking it out, you've got all this wonderfulness, you want to make sure that you're taking advantage of it and scheduling it or posting it across all the different platforms, okay? The whole goal, and I just want to revisit what we talked about the other day, right? Why are we doing this in the first place? Right? So we need to build relationships. We need to share your expertise. We need to establish authority, increase your visibility. I'm going to repeat that again, right? Attract potential customers, increase brand awareness, and stay top of mind. Told you I was going to repeat it, right? Be visible. We want to keep showing up. Okay. I don't care who you are and what it is that you do. You need to be present and out there so that when your ideal client is ready to hire you or needs you and you have what it is that they need, you're going to be top of mind because you've been showing up, you've been showcasing your expertise. I cannot tell you how many times I see this in a day from clients or, people who reach back out. In fact, we have a couple clients that reached out to us earlier this year and said, what was it? They like quadrupled their sales goal.
Yep.
Yeah. They like blew their sales goal out of the water because they had started creating consistent content and they were connecting consistently on social media. I mean, literally, they used to do cold calling, right? It was like the old school method of like reaching out and getting leads. They literally turned their entire business back to social media and reaching out and connecting, and they're blowing it out of the water. So we want you guys to be the go-to expert. We want you guys to think about, right? If someone were to refer you, if someone were to say, oh my gosh, you need to hire Scott, he's the LinkedIn expert, or hey, you need to hire Sharon because she's the expert in, XYZ. You want to be the go-to expert. So you want to make sure that you're showing up and you are the expert in your space. Okay. We want to make this easy for people. So tonight, we're going to lead, right, using LinkedIn, kind of our strategy on LinkedIn as the example, right? We're going to take you through a journey of what it looks like, right, to create the video. We're going to give you some tips on how you can do that. We can break that out into an article and then how you can create a simple post, okay, and more. Actually, we're going to break that down a little bit more. So, like I said, right, video is the pillar content, like that little graphic. So video is so incredibly important. I said it earlier, but video is the quickest way to build know, like, and trust with your audience. Think about it. Okay. In fact, someone earlier this night did a video. I tuned in. In fact, they were going live. It makes me feel like I'm like there with them sometimes. When people are going live and they're like, hey guys, I'm actually on here. I'm just sharing some things and they're interacting with me like live. It's like, whoa, this is like a whole different experience. Even when you schedule videos. In fact, again, the clients that I mentioned earlier who were just crushing it, right, in the health insurance space, they literally batch out their content. In fact, I'm going to be doing a podcast episode with them in a couple of weeks because they're just like the star students. They literally the first Friday of every month, they get together and they batch out about 4 episodes, right? They do video episodes and they talk about what it is that they're experts around. They talk about how they can help improve, employee engagement, how they can improve culture, all the different things. And they get it all batched out, right? They take care of it. And then obviously they follow our routine, which is breaking down that content into multiple pieces. And then they schedule it for the whole month. So it's really not as daunting and as overwhelming, right? As it seems. They're just literally creating that content, showcasing what they know, and then they're getting it out there. And it's really working, right? Because, even they shared, I think they were at like a holiday party, and one of the companies that they had been following for months actually reached out to them and said, you know what? I've been seeing your content on LinkedIn. It's really good. And they started a conversation and they closed that company into what it is that they did. So it's really, really awesome. The potential of what you can do on social media. So we're going to talk now about video. Okay. So we're going to break down what a video is and what our kind of guidelines are when it comes to video.
So with video, and we're leading with LinkedIn, 2 to 5 minutes is optimal. That's our optimal length if it's going to be pre-recorded. We're not going to talk about live video, which is my preference, but if you're going to do pre-recorded video, you want somewhere between 2 to 5 minutes, because that basically makes sure that it gives you enough time to get through all your key points. You can introduce yourself properly. You can give your 2 or 3 tangible tips with an explanation of each. You can sign off, give your call to action. And you have to also take into consideration that the most valuable commodity that a person has is the time that they're giving you. And you want to be very, very present with that, in the sense that you don't want to have someone sit there for 8.5 minutes to learn what they could have learned from you in 2 minutes. So if that makes sense, drop a Y or a yes in the chat box. Now, if you're in the very, very beginning stages of creating any video content, people ask us all the time, Is 30 seconds okay? Is 60 seconds okay? Is 90 seconds okay? Yes. The answer is yes. Any video at all is better than doing no video at all. So even if you just wanted to start with a very basic 30 to 60 second introduction video, introducing yourself to your network. This is my first video. Here's what I do. Stay tuned for some more tips in the coming weeks of things that can help you grow your business. That's completely fine. When you overcomplicate the process and you overthink the process, you overcomplicate and overthink yourself into doing nothing. And that's what we don't want you to do. So again, we're going to give you guidelines. We recommend 2 to 5 minutes, but if your video ends up being a minute and a half, or it ends up being a minute 45, or just a minute long, it is so fine. It is so okay to do that.
Yeah. And I know like Lori dropped in the chat about like, when people go live and they're like, all right, I'm going to wait a few minutes. I agree. Go into it with what you're going to share, right? If you jumped on that live and you're like, hey guys, I'm going to chat with you about whatever. Don't wait for anybody, even if it's crickets. In fact, it's still right. Like you'll do the live and you might have a couple people maybe join you live, but go back to your live and take a look and see how many people have actually watched after the fact.
I'll share something. I did a video. I don't know if it was yesterday or it was last week. And there were like 12 or 13 people on there live with me. And so I want people, I love knowing where people are watching from. So, I'll say, type your city, your state, your country, your province. And like a couple people did. I spoke to 3 people that were all on that live that said nothing. I didn't even know they were on there. And they were people that knew me. So again, some people just like to watch. But again, you don't want to say, well, I'm just going to wait here for a couple minutes, wait for some people to jump on.
No,
and
don't do that. That's so like, oh,
you jump right in. You have to
love on everybody who's showing up.
You have to treat it almost like it's a live recorded training, meaning don't forget people are going to watch the replay, right? So you have to treat it like even if no one is there, they're going to watch it later. So I have a lot of people that always pop onto the replay because I always say, if you're watching this on the replay, just use hashtag replay. So I'll get notifications all day long that people are popping on. So again, we're not talking about live video, but just when you're doing your video, just show up for everyone else. And this is the big thing. If people consistently make the process of creating video content about themselves and how I look, and I need to look perfect, and it has to be perfect lighting, and I don't want to sound stupid, all you're doing is robbing those individuals of your expertise, because it's not about us. It's about what we can do and how we can serve everyone else.
Absolutely. And honestly, like Scott always talks about it, it's almost like going to the gym. Right? Like you do a video and it's like, it's so scary. You probably had like 100 million bloopers, let's be honest. But then you do another one and you do another one. In fact, I've been really, really, really deep in watching a lot of training around, YouTube and, how to make the best videos and things like that. And a lot of recommendations say, record it multiple times. And usually sometimes after like the 3rd time, you'll get comfortable. But I promise you, you do that and you start out and you record more and you record more. It's almost like a muscle, right? Like you gain your confidence and you realize that those silly little things that you used to care about really don't matter. Okay. So I want to challenge you guys that again, if you never thought about doing video and you just came to this content creation workshop and you're like, well, I'm just going to create, a couple pieces of content or whatever. I really challenge you to show up as you, right? As you on video. So just keep that in mind, right? Because again, I cannot reiterate this enough from a marketing standpoint. We are here to show up to build the know, like, and trust with our audience. There is no better way than to show up as yourself, as you, right? People can hire marketing firms all day long. People can pay, VAs to create social media for them all day long, but no one, I'm sorry, AI can't even do this right now. Okay. They can't show up as you, right? AI is not going to get on here and go, well, today's topic. No, they're not going to do that. That's you, right? AI and like VAs can't jump on podcast episodes and do interviews. Okay. So I think it's important to note, how important video is, and Sharon asks, should we share our face each time? Yes. Again, this is you helping other people, if it's for your business. And here's the thing, I'm always a big fan of meeting people where they're at. If you need to dip your toes in the water and maybe you want to start with, maybe some slides and sharing some things. In fact, full transparency, when I first started, creating videos and sharing it on YouTube or getting it out there, they were training videos. It was like, hey guys, here's how to create something on Canva. And it was like a screen share. So yeah, I was in there, but it was like a little tiny me in the corner. The thing is the more and more I did it, the more comfortable I got. And eventually I showed up on camera and I said, hey, it's me. Here's what I know. And I'm going to teach it to you. You got a problem? I'll solve it. Right. So that's the thing I want you guys to keep in mind. And I promise you being your unique self is going to set you apart from everyone else. Okay. In fact, I can't tell you how many podcast episodes, marketing broadcasts, newsletters, things that I've read. People just want real right now. Okay. Aside from everything else. So you showing up authentically and sharing your expertise, and again, giving value, right? We want to create good content. And giving value to your audience is going to make all the difference.
So I'm just going to be brutally honest. I just have an opposing view. I would never show up on showing slides and not my face. and here
baby steps, right? Baby steps.
And here's why. Well, I mean, Nancy, you saw her face in the corner. She was doing a loom. That's fine. But if you're just going to like hide behind your computer and just go through a slide deck, that's a presentation. And again, people are looking to consume content in the quickest way possible, in the way that they can learn, then they can apply it. If someone has to sit there and kind of read through slides, you're going to lose those people's attention. Faces connect. You want people to get to know you, like you, and trust you. So just think about any brand that you love or any product that has a face behind it, right? It's building that know, like, and trust. Why do you think in certain advertisements they have smiling, happy faces and they have people doing certain things? It's because they want to create a feeling around what the person is looking at. And video does that. So as terrifying and as scary as it may be, we're making it scarier than it needs to be. There are going to be, I guarantee every single one of you has done something more challenging in your life than doing a video where you're showing yourself. That's, again, there's much more challenging things we've done in this life. And someone said, can you have a slide deck alongside my talking face? Again, it really depends on the topic. Remember, this is short form content, right? So we're talking about 120 seconds. And to kind of go back between a slide deck and yourself, it's much better if someone has a slide deck to actually upload that on LinkedIn as a PDF document file that people can slide through and read on their own, or even convert that information into a LinkedIn newsletter or article. So what we're talking about is short form video content where it's called talking head, where it's just you talking directly to your audience, just giving some tangible tips and takeaways, coming on there very quickly, giving those tips, asking people what they took away, and then signing off.
Yeah. And exactly what Scott said, like, again, we want to lead you to, right? This is the goal. We want you. Okay. Literally, like if you picture the screen, it's just you, talking on screen. And in fact, we're going to share a couple tips and just a couple slides, right? How we typically do it. And if you guys are a little nervous, right, just getting started with this, Zoom is a great and simple, easy way. In fact, Zoom, if you go to preferences, you can even soften your appearance, right? There's lots of fun little things that you can do.
Don't soften it too much.
Yeah, don't soften it too much. But if you feel a little like, I'm looking a little wild and crazy today, you can soften it up a little. But like Zoom is a very simple and easy way. In fact, a lot of different YouTube trainings that I've even been a part of, they're like, go on Zoom and just record yourself, right? And share what it is that you do, add some subtitles and so on and so forth. So we're going to break down the anatomy of a video, right? We're going to give you guys some tips on how you can actually break that down. But again, the content that we want you to create and kind of the core of what we always teach, we want you guys being yourselves. We want you to be authentic. We want you to show up as you. And that's kind of like the amazingness and the beautifulness, right, of your personal brand and building it on social media is it's you. So you get to make it your own. So we want you to show up as you. So Scott's going to go through now a couple different tips, and then we're going to jump into the anatomy.
Yep. So if this is making sense, just drop a Y or a yes in the chat. Just want to make sure everybody is clear so far. Awesome. Okay. So again, there's different things that you can use. There's something for the Mac or Mac products for a computer called Teleprompter app, and it's literally just called Teleprompter. And basically, you can be recording on Zoom, and you can have Teleprompter, which you can type some stuff into it, and it basically almost like you're at the Oscars. You're kind of reading from a teleprompter. It would be the same thing. No one would know that you're reading from anything. But what I will say is, if you get too verbose with how I'm reading things from the teleprompter and it's really monotone, people can tell you're reading. So I like just going by little cue cards or note cards, because what that allows me to do, and I even show them, I'll write like a tip down on a piece of paper, and I'll kind of show it to the screen. Like, tip number 1 is this. And all I need is that little prompt for me to go on, as mentioned, a 30 to 60 second riff on that specific topic. I think
teleprompter is potentially for PC and Mac,
not phone.
But not phone.
Not phone.
But there's lots of different, if you type in teleprompter app or whatever. But again, to Scott's point, I actually, in the teleprompter, when it allows you to script what it is you're going to speak, I just put my notes, right? I don't put the long verbose, paragraphs and the breakdown. I don't put my whole blog post in there. I just put the highlights, right? You don't want to do that. In fact, you want to just have something that kind of keeps you guiding along. But like Lori mentioned, right, you don't want to be reading from left to right and sound like a robot.
Yep. And Ken's right. The key is to look at the camera so people can feel you making eye contact. Absolutely. It's one of those things. It's a very intimate experience. So I want to kind of go over the anatomy of a video, and we're going to do a little example here because we do have some time. So obviously, the step 1 is introducing yourself and saying hello. Step 2 is what you're going to be talking about and the reason why you're talking about it. Step 3, you're going to talk about those specific talking points and topic. You're going to recap what you spoke about, and then you're going to have your call to action. So let's have a little fun really quickly. So type into the chat a topic that you would want me to talk about. So if anyone has seen that show, Whose Line Is It Anyway? So we're going to ask the audience, what are some, and the last time we did this was
like how
to make snow angels, making pancakes. Ooh, I love making pancakes. Collect the cash. I may go with pancakes. I think that's I make pancakes at least once a week. Okay.
So throw something in the chat that you think Scott should talk about, right? 2 minutes or whatever about.
Well, I got pancakes. That's what I'm going with. So we're going with pancakes. All right. So what I would do is I would go over 3 tips of how to make the best pancake, right? So what I would say is, number 1, making sure that you have a consistent batter. So you don't want it too watery. You don't want it too thick. Number 2, you want to make sure that your pan is heated up at the correct temperature. So when you put the pancake batter in there, it cooks evenly. And number 3, picking the right filling. So for me, I always put a tablespoon of chunky peanut butter and dark chocolate chips. And that's like, you don't even need syrup. Like, you got it all right there. So basically that's what I would do. And I mean, I do gluten-free, but that's no fun, but it's fun for me.
Well, actually 3 people asked for gluten-free.
Oh yeah. So Nancy picked up some gluten-free pancake batter. So it's really good. So basically those would be my 3 key points, right? making sure you have a consistency in your batter, making sure that your pan's the right temperature and choosing the right filling. So here's what the video would sound like. And I'm not going to do like the full 2 minutes, but basically I could say, hey, everybody, Scott here. So what we're going to talk about today are the 3 keys to making sure that you make the best pancakes possible. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this topic is because so many people have reached out to me to say, hey, I'm burning my pancakes, or they're falling apart, or I don't know what I should put in them. So what I wanted to go over today were the 3 keys to really having a great pancake. So the first step is making sure that you have a consistent batter. And what I mean by that is you don't want too thick of a batter or too thin of a batter, because it won't rise enough, it won't flip easily, and you have a greater chance of ruining the pancake. The second thing is making sure the temperature of the pan is right. So you always want to have it on a medium heat. So when you put the pancake on there, it's going to cook right away. And you can tell that it's cooking because it gets those nice little bubbles on the top. It starts to form a little bit of a harder crust on the outside. That's when you know it's ready to flip. And the third thing is choosing the right fillings. You don't want to add any sort of jam or maybe cherries or a jelly, because actually what happens, and people don't realize this, is when you add something like that, it actually cooks it down and gets all watery and can ruin the pancake. So you want to add something that actually creates a greater consistency with the pancake, like chunky peanut butter and chocolate chips, which is what I use. And those are my 3 keys to making the perfect pancake. So leave me in the comments below. Let me know, what are your favorite fillings for your pancakes, or what are your favorite recipes? Leave them in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
And that would be my video. So again, yeah, blueberries. Awesome.
A lot of fans of blueberries. Yeah.
So again, I've done this. I've been doing video content for 11 years or so. So again, oh, ricotta, that's delicious. So again, that's the key. So as long as you follow that little structure, introducing yourself and saying hello, right? Talking about the 3 different keys, and then talking about each of those specific topics, recapping, and then that call to action. Again, that's going to give you a great, and what are you laughing at?
Just all the comments. It's really funny. Your pancakes should be your specialty, actually.
I'm pretty good at cooking them too.
Yeah. But so, I mean, what Scott just did, I mean, obviously he can do it just at the drop of a hat. But you guys can do this too, right? So whatever it is, right? Whatever content topic that you've chosen to talk about, do it, and then go back again and do it again if it feels comfortable, and then do it again if you need to, right? These are 2 to 5 minute videos we're talking about. We're not talking about like hour-long videos that you got to go back and do, but it's so doable. And you guys can do it too.
So if everybody is clear on that, just drop a Y or a yes in the chat box. So again, you could do content on anything. I did snow angels last year,
Making a snow angel,
and I did pancakes this year. But it's really that simple, and just have fun with it. I think we end up taking things too seriously, and again, 2 to 4 minutes is absolutely long enough for pillar content. So what we have figured out through Otter.ai, if you do a 3-minute video, you're going to get 2 full paragraphs of transcription, which again, you can break down into a longer form post, a newsletter, or an article, a blog, and you can actually break those into 3 separate pieces, or even an infographic.
Yeah, and we're going to break that down obviously tomorrow. That's what that's all about. I'm going to give you guys a flow, right, of how you can take that key topic and that transcription and break it apart into multiple pieces. So we'll be covering that tomorrow.
Yep. So again, take some notes, write your topics down, write those 3 little tips, and just shoot the video. This is about taking imperfect action. Okay. So again, here is your homework for tonight into tomorrow. Nancy, you want to say something?
It's not yet. We're not talking about homework yet.
What's that?
We're not talking about homework.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So, a couple tips, right? So I'm a desktop girl. I actually love using my computer and my desktop for all things. Scott is a phone guy, right? So a couple tips for desktop is, again, we really emphasize Zoom because a lot of people, especially during COVID and lockdown and all this stuff, we're using Zoom. Okay. So Zoom is the easiest thing that you can use, and pretend you're just having a meeting with yourself. Okay. It's really easy. You just hit that button, start your meeting. Again, you can write down on your note card what the title is. You can write out your bullet points, and you can go ahead and start that meeting. Click record your 2 to 5 minute video, and then you click stop recording. Now, a little hack, because I learned this from myself, you don't have to stop your entire meeting and restart every time you mess up. You can just click stop recording. Okay. You want to make sure to record to your computer, to your desktop, but you can basically hit that as many times as you want, and it'll record separate videos for each. So let's say, for example, you're about a minute in and you're like, hey guys, 3 tips on how to build the perfect pancake. And you get to like tip number 2 and you're like, you can just hit stop record and then just go ahead and start again, right? Zoom's going to actually stop and start based on your direction, right? By clicking that button. And then at the end of it, it's going to download, multiple videos there. And then you can pick the one that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, you can record to your cloud, but you have to then download it from the cloud to your computer. So it just adds an extra step. So it's just easier if you save it right to your computer. So again, whether you want to do it through your phone or you want to do it through Zoom, it's whatever's most convenient for you. If you want to batch out a bunch of videos, you can. And again, if you're going to do it through your phone, and this is what I typically do, choose your title. Again, like we did with pancakes, write out your bullet points, the 3 keys, prop your phone up. You don't need, I don't even use a stand. I literally just lean it up against my laptop, and that's it. I open up the camera. I ensure that it's facing me, obviously. I hit record. I press stop, and then it saves to my camera roll, and then I can upload it later. And the cool thing is, as Nancy said, I can even, if I want, as I'm recording that video on my phone, I can have Otter running in the background, which is completely fine. Or if I forget to run Otter in the background, I can actually play the video, hold it up to my computer where Otter is, and it'll transcribe it for me that way. So again, it's just an amazing tool. So if everybody is clear so far on how to do it through your phone or how to do it through Zoom and using Otter, just drop a Y or a yes in the chat. Awesome.
Yep. And I just wanted to share really quick, because again, I'm the desktop person. Scott's the iPhone or the phone person. So if you're using your desktop and you don't want to use up desktop space, the program that I use is Google Drive, right? So I actually pay about $12 a month for Google Drive. I literally have terabytes of space at this point, so I can create till my, the cows come home. So I do recommend, right, as you're doing this and as you become content creators, save the space on your computer. You don't want to jam it up. You don't want to obviously cause any issues there. You can download the video right after the Zoom. You can save to your Google Drive. Yeah, and it even has tons of free space even before you pay for it. And then once you drag it to your Google Drive, you can delete it off your computer.
Yep.
Okay. And I feel like it's funny because I never talked about this before, because I just felt like, oh yeah, everybody's doing this. But then, as years went on, I'm like, okay, people definitely need to understand that's a great solution. And Dropbox, yes, is another alternative. So just keep in mind, right? As you're creating content, it's going to create a lot of space, right? So we want to make sure that we have a program or a system in place to be able to save space on your device.
Yep. So again, our homework for night number 2 is to record and save a 2 to 5 minute video and drop it into the homework thread. It'll say Nancy's Day 2 homework thread pinned to the top of the Facebook group, or you can email Nancy at nancy@byobagency.com. Now, here's the thing. If 2 to 5 minutes is really stretching it for you and you're more comfortable doing a 30-second, a 60-second, or a 90-second, that's completely fine. Nancy and I just want to see you all do your video to get this assignment done, because here's the key. For tomorrow night to make sense, because we're going over repurposing and creating multiple pieces of content tomorrow night. For tomorrow night to make sense, you got to get that video done. Because if you want to repurpose some content, you want to create some additional things, you're going to have to create that video first. So if everybody is clear and they're ready to create their video, drop a Y or a yes in the chat box. And the group is called LinkedIn Leads for Life. You're going to post the whole video. So again, the video should be 2 to 4 minutes. So whether you save it to your phone or your computer, you're just going to, post it right into the comments section. Thank you, Peg. So if anyone is not a member of the group yet, you can click on that link that Peg just dropped in there. And again, to make sure, again, remember, in order for tomorrow night to make sense where we can create multiple pieces of content, again, you got to create that video. So it can be 30 seconds, it can be 60 seconds, 90 seconds. We prefer 2 to 5 minutes because that will enable you to use Otter as a transcription tool to then get some deeper content from it where you can repurpose it into multiple pieces. So before we announce the winners for tonight, drop into the comments below what was the biggest takeaway from night number 2. What about tonight really moved the needle for you as far as pillar content that kind of fed back into what we went over last night using Otter, transcription? Absolutely. Again, it's about working smarter and not harder. Otter.ai. Creating will keep you in shape. Absolutely. All technology. The simple steps of putting the video together, cloud storage, apps, awesome. Yeah, I mean, you guys will love Otter and it's free. It just makes your life so easy. Now, remember, you're going to get the replay email tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. so you can go back and watch this again. Videos need to be uploaded to the Facebook group thread by 7:30 p.m. tomorrow night, a half hour before we begin night number 3, or you can email Nancy at nancy@byobagency.com. That's going to go out in the email as well. And also remember, tomorrow night, we're going over repurposing your content. So we're going to take that video, we're going to harvest it, and then we're going to show you how to create multiple pieces. And then Thursday is full 60 minutes of Q&A and a live demonstration of Chat GPT and how you guys can leverage it for your business. So remember, there's going to be 4 more winners announced tomorrow night and 4 more winners announced on Thursday, 2 homework winners each night and 2 social media winners. So again, if you've taken a screenshot of this, all you have to do is post it on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever, and tag us in it so we get notified that you have done that. But also make sure you do the accountability assignment to get credit as well. And we are 8 o'clock straight through all this week, 8 p.m. EST, tonight, tomorrow, and on Thursday. So here are our first 4 winners. And if your name is called, please send an email to support@byobagency.com. Nance, can you type that in the chat?
Yep.
So if your name is called to claim your prize, you're going to send an email to support@byobagency.com. So the 2 homework winners, Nicole Lavrine and Tom Feeney. The 2 social media winners, Jennifer Pilates and Bria Stryker. So congratulations to all the winners. If your name was called, please send an email to support@byobagency.com. byobagency.com. If everybody is clear on everything we went over, just drop a Y or a yes in the chat one last time. Awesome. Listen, great job with night number 2. We're looking forward to seeing all of your videos. Love and gratitude to each and every one of you. And we'll see you tomorrow night. Bye, everyone.